Well, grand rising, and welcome to Ilana Monet's Motivational Moment. Before I start, I must do my salutations. Aboragani, Assalamu alaikum, Ikaro. Now that I've done my salutations, let's get into the meat of the message for today. Now, we're going to put a pin on, and this has been resonating in my spirit for quite some time now. Mind the business that pays you. I'll say it again. Mind the business that pays you. Ding. Put that right there. Okay, so let's get into the meat of the message for today. Living our best life. And you have to be the catalyst of change. If you want something different, if you want something out of the ordinary, then you yourself have to be out of the ordinary. In order to get something, you have to be that in which you are wanting to be. So if you're aiming to be a wife, then you have to be a wife before you already have the ring. If you're trying to be financially stable, you need to take steps to becoming financially stable. So everything that you need and everything that you want, you have to start. It all starts with you. Losing weight starts with you. Just start cutting back a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. Don't eat after 8. Then move it up to 7. Then move it up to 6. You can often try intermediate eating or intermediate fasting. Whatever it takes for you to get down to the size that you want to, by all means, please do it. Be happy with yourself and not wanting others to validate your feelings, your thoughts, or your dreams. Now, I listen, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to follow everything that you say. No, I'm going to use what you say, take the best parts that I feel that suits me and whatever I'm doing, and I'll try it. And if it doesn't fit, don't be mad. It just didn't fit what I wanted to do. Okay, so now let's talk about short-term goals. And what do you do with a short-term goal? What is a short-term goal? How does that play a part in whatever I'm trying to do? A lot of times when we make big goals and we push everything out, we don't look at the little bitty progresses that we go through. We do not look at the little bitty compliments that have happened to help us reach our big goals. So we take little bitty steps. I achieved that step, so therefore I can do the next. It's a mind game. I did this, so therefore I can do that. And then one day you might look up and say, hey, look, I did it. You have to begin to write things down. In order to stay focused, I have to write things down. What I'm going to do first, second, or third, and now it often changes. So I can't say that I go by the list directly because that's just me. But at least I do make a list so that I won't forget some important things that I need. Now, making a plan for your day ahead of time helps you to avoid being subject to the whims of your emotions or energy level. By clearly knowing your agenda and sticking to it, you train your mind to be your servant instead of it managing you. Giving yourself written instructions composed during times of clarity shows you how to stay on track at times when you might feel less balanced or unstable. It also helps prevent acting on impulse, which would otherwise lead backwards to your bad habits or tendencies. Keeping a daily to-do list and written goals lists help you rewire your mind by helping you create new patterns instead of allowing the old patterns to continuously manifest. Staying organized and knowing what you are working toward also helps create a sense of calm, focus, and purpose. Write or update your to-do list at time of the day when you have the most clarity and energy. For example, some people do it in the morning. Some other may do it at night. Whatever it takes for you to get to the place that you want to get, then you do it. Long-term goals and how to write them and how to write an effective list. Make a list of what you would like to achieve. For some ideas, get started. For some ideas, just sit back and reminisce and try to dig deep and find those things that make you you. For each goal you have, write it down, a few steps you can take toward achieving your goal. The key is that the action you list toward achieving your goals must be under your control. Now, I've seen people say, well, I'm going to cut the grass. But it looks like it's going to rain. So cutting the grass right now may not be all it's cracked up to be. You may have to wait. May have to wait for a couple of days. But you have to make sure that whatever you're going to do, you do have control over. Like, you don't have control over my life. I don't have control over your life. But we have to make a conscious effort to make sure that whatever we are doing for the advancement of who we are, what we are trying to do, and how we're trying to do it. Choose at least one each day or each month to revise your plan. It's okay to remove a goal that no longer appears to you, and if it feels great, to remove the ones you have achieved. Keep a copy of your plan somewhere accessible where you can read it once a day, perhaps on the bathroom mirror. Reading your goals listings daily will help you keep you focused and inspired. Now, ideas for setting goals and objectives. Grab a notebook and take a moment to jot down some ideas for each category below. Use the note to write out a plan using the guidelines above. Number 1, list out any long-term projects you're working on or plan to undertake. And like buying a home, getting a college degree, learning to play an instrument, learning a different language. Number 2, list your personal habits you would like to eliminate, change, or develop. Like losing weight, stop smoking, stop interrupting people, minding your own business, that kind of thing. List your reoccurring activities you partake in or would like to partake in, such as gardening, sorority clubs, any kind of clubs, really, hobby, reading, something that will keep your mind going. Now, the present moment holds the secret to the key to how to change habits, okay? Now, this is certainly not the first time I have not followed through on a plan. Like, I plan to do yoga. I just never have the time. On this particular day, however, it occurred to me that one of the reasons why I'm not following through with the plans or the goals or the ideas we hold for ourselves is that the self makes a plan is not the self that presents itself at all times. Or the self that stands up or shows itself will not act to the response that you're looking for. You can choose to do something in the future. You can only make that choice in the natural a moment that you are going to do the things that are in question. So all the time that you have decided to do something later and manage to follow through, it is because that we are in a similar mental state at that time, and the original decision at the time that the action was carried out. In both moments in time, we were similar, or we had similar values, properties, priorities, motivations, and emotional states. Okay. However, our emotional or our state of mind is not always the same. And I can attest to this because I change my mind quite often. Even when I set out my clothes for the week, and what I planned on Monday, I might wear it on Friday. So it all depends. So I am constantly changing. And I know that about myself. So once you know things about yourself, you're able to adapt to different changes because you already know, hey, this is going to happen. So I'm going to have to do this. This is what's going to happen. So I'm going to have to make sure that I do that. So there are ways and things that you can do to help those things. Okay. If you were stuck in a diet or an exercise program, instantaneously quitting smoking, drinking, or overeating, keeping up with your friends' to-do list, and generally achieving every goal you set for yourselves. So what can you do to become more consistent self? Mind the business that pays you. If you hold an ideal of yourself, yet fail to take the actions necessary to achieve that idea, it is because we have not made the specific behavior a habit. The behavior is not a habit because the state of mind requires that the behavior is not a habit. If your ability to follow through or an action depends on the state of your mind that we are in, then it follows that we need to make the habit out of being our highest selves in order to achieve the ideal we set for ourselves. You have to set it here before it will manifest in the present. Okay? So the habit that we develop are then a result of our allegiance. And in that moment, you can make a choice that is a higher self, what a higher self would make, or you can give into demands of the lower self. Okay, so it all depends on you. Now, the key here is that you must be present and continuously aware when you make a choice and how it affects you. Instead of having the second helping of pie, you can take that opportunity to pause and notice that you have a choice if you want the pie. You can choose, and it's up to you. The human brain is usually perfectly suited to this type of habit training. Our brains focus through vast networks of neurons. As you use certain connections over and over again, these connections strengthen and become a behavior, becomes natural and automatic, just like when you learn how to drive a car. Likewise, when you stop using certain neuron networks, the brain slowly trims off that connection. We can basically rewire ourselves to do what we want to do through our habits. So what habits are you taking to reach your goals? What habits are you playing with to make sure that you reach the ultimate goal? What are you doing? You can't just say, oh, I want to have a lot of money, and you don't do anything to get it. In order to get a lot of money, there are steps. Step number 1, go to school. Step number 2, make good grades. Step number 3, apply yourself. So there's a lot of things that go into play when we talk about I want more money. That's so broad. You narrow it down. What do I need to do to get to the next level? If I'm wanting to, number 1, move from point A to point B, what does it take for me to be an entrepreneur? What does it take for me to be a teacher? What does it take for me to be a dancer? All these things will go through our minds. What does it take for us to be who we need to be? And how are we going to get there? I remember when I was in college and I was just so tired. I had a baby and I'm working full time, going to school full time, and taking care of my child, which I had a lot of help from my mom. But I made a decision that I was going to finish. I'm going to move to the next level. So I had to put in the work. Whenever you're going to do something, you're going to have to put in the work. When I became a member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority, it wasn't, hey, you in. I had to put in work. I had to show my dedication. I had to show my sisterhood. I had to put in work. Anything that you want to do or that's worth having, you're going to have to put the work in to get it. Easy come, easy go. And if you get stuff easily, you don't appreciate its value anyway. Which brings me to us women. Learn to know your value. Stop hanging or stop pursuing somebody who does not want you. That looks bad on you. And then you out here saying, you know, I'm this and I'm that, when your actions show that you're really not. Don't be a sounding brass and don't mean anything by it. If you're going to be who you're going to be, then be that person. Be that person. The key to see the resistance in the opportunity that you have been waiting for. This is your chance to take the other path in the fork in the road. Welcome these moments of struggle. Because every time you find the struggle, you choose a higher option you plan for yourself and move you to building new connections in your mind. The more difficult it is for you to take action that overrides any resistance, the more powerful the effect will be of sticking to the plan. So it's up to you what you will do. You are going to have to choose which side of the boat you're going to be on. Either you're going to be on the rowing side of the boat or you're going to be outside the boat. But mind the business that pays you. So with that being said, guys, I have got to go. I should have labeled today, mind the business that's paying you. Tomorrow we're going to talk about a whole new subject. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the 8 steps to take for a better life. We're going to talk about the 8 steps of how to do it. So I'm going to take it apart and help us build legacy, help us build for tomorrow. So with that being said, guys, I've got to go. I love you, but God loves you more. And remember, I'll see you at the top because the bottom is way too crowded. And don't forget to travel to my YouTube page. That's Elonda Monet Hatter. Elonda, Elonda Monet, Monia Hatter, Hatter on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. With that being said, guys, I've got to go. Peace.